Hey y'all, happy Friday.
Hey y'all, Friday Love Fest.
Friday Love Fest. So this is part two from last week when we were talking about different ways that you can begin to love yourself or begin to figure out what it means to you to be loved. Just like what love means to you, how you love people, how you love yourself. And so then today we wanted to talk to you about, once you know that and you've been practicing that, how you communicate that to other people.
Right.
I think we romanticize the idea in general. We romanticize this idea of love, that if it's true love, if it's someone I'm meant to be with, that I don't have to communicate anything to them about how I want to be loved. Like, there are things that we expect them to just know or be able to guess, and
somehow it's magical and
it invalidates, we like invalidate the overall experience of the relationship if they can't
anticipate us,
anticipate our needs, our preferences. So that's not the case.
No, because we're all human. And just like you, I think one of the major keys to this process, and like, you've learned how to love yourself, you're practicing it, hopefully. You're probably messing up sometimes.
Yeah. Now
we're asking you to communicate outward to the other relationships you have. Guess what? They're human like you. They're going to mess up sometimes. So there's got to be a element of grace involved in the accountability pieces.
Yeah.
Once you've figured out how to communicate like what you need and your boundaries and how to respect and love you properly, right?
Yeah.
Effectively, I should say. There's not really properly. It's not really a wrong way.
Yeah. And I think when you think about it, just in general, we all have our different life experiences that inform what we consider love and like how we love other people. And so I really want the opportunity to explain to someone and communicate with them about what it is to me. Because one, I want to be loved unique to me. I want it to be specific to who I am and the way that I show up in the world. But also, some of the things that other people learn where they might sincerely care about you and want to express love toward you, but what they've learned doesn't necessarily translate as love to you. You know what I mean? Like, they may have the feelings about you, but they can't, the way that their actions, what they show you,
maybe isn't landing with you.
And so that's one of the reasons I think it's really important to communicate about,
I think
you love.
To some degree that gap would indicate whether you're a good match for each other.
Yeah.
Right? To some level. And then I think as you go on and, like, say you end up together, you are sharing life, even in friendship or whatever, it gets more complicated or complex, or we make it more complex, and there would have to be adjustments. And communicating how you need loved is really important at that stage, because like, their lived experience might grow them in a relationship differently than your life experience grows relationships for you.
Yeah. So, okay, what are some of the ways that we communicate these things? Obviously, you can just ask.
Yeah. I think when you think about, like, the progression of relationships, a lot of the beginning of relationships is what you described. It is like this magical kind of organic, effortless connection that you have with somebody, and they do kind of show up in the right time, the right way, and you're like surprised and impressed. And I think those are the moments that it's important for you to be observing what it is they're doing that you are loving and appreciating, and what's landing with you.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be important as you get beyond the discovery stage of that interaction, that you take the things you loved and didn't like, and you use them to build on that relationship to continue in a sustainable way.
Yeah.
So to be observant early on, I think, is really important. And also to give feedback, immediate feedback, right? So if they do that thing that was like, felt like they read your mind and they just showed up in the right place at the right time, really covering you, and you were like, oh my God, that was everything.
Yeah.
tell them that.
Yes.
Right?
Be
don't miss the
vulnerable.
opportunity to communicate and give feedback. Like, that really meant a lot and touched me, and I was surprised and felt different or special from other relationships.
Right. So definitely give them feedback when they do something that you like, when they do something that makes you feel loved. Of course, give them feedback politely when they do something that you don't like or that doesn't make you feel loved. And I think one of the important things to me when I'm communicating about how I receive love is communicating about boundaries. And I know when someone asks me a question and I'm tempted to agree or say yes or something like that, and kind of like betray my boundaries because I feel like, oh, like this would make it so much easier if I just went along with whatever they're suggesting. But of course, like as I've gotten older, it's been much easier to just hold my ground and not feel like I have to acquiesce to what they want, because they're being vocal about what they want. So I need to, respect myself and also be vocal about like what I want, what I don't want. So I think boundaries is really important when you feel. One of the ways I guess that you can communicate what it means to love you is when you are feeling like you need to sacrifice some boundaries, make that known.
I feel like if I come with you on this path, I'm really letting go of this boundary I have, and that feels vulnerable. I'm unsure if I want to do that, and I also want you to know that that's somewhat of a risk or sacrifice, aka a gift to you if I choose to like go down this path. So, which I think in communicating, like suggest, and you could even say like, I want you to really respect the effort or resource I'm giving you in doing that with you. And also kind of keeps from setting the tone that this is going to be normal all the time, because it is a boundary that I'm like, I'm letting go of today, but maybe not forever.
And I think once you say things like that, like once you say it once, it makes it, in my opinion, makes it a little bit easier to enforce it later. Like once I've put it out there, I've gotten past the anxiety that I would feel personally of explaining that boundary. Then if it comes back up, or if it seems like you're expecting repetition, I can say, hey, that was a one-time thing.
Right.
So yeah, I think boundaries are really important in terms of communicating, and don't communicate something that you're not intending to hold yourself accountable to. I think that's important. And
I also think, similar to the message we said before, you need to be checking in with yourself about how you like to be loved all the time. You also, like, all of this is going to grow and shift and change when you're relating to other people, lover, friendship, whatever. And so this conversation is ongoing. And if you think you can just like, here's my list of boundaries, peace, love me that way, and we'll keep it moving, you're wrong. It's got to be a continuous conversation that both of you, that might be like one of the first agreements you need to make with partnership or friendship is like, this is a conversation I want to continue to have as I grow, and are you willing to like go there with me?
Which means you have to continue to practice loving yourself. You have to continue checking in with yourself and then reporting back to the people that love you, so that they know that this is where you are. They know that this boundary has shifted for you, or you're able to give them different feedback. Like, I used to feel that way, but now I don't feel that way anymore. So, can you think of any other ways to communicate about?
I think those are a really big start, right? Because we're probably stretching a lot of people already, and stretches me just to think about some of that. So obviously, step one is to make sure you know how to love yourself, know what your boundaries are, discover that for yourself, continue to check in, and then I think be in discovery mode and use that information as you progress in that relationship. Give instant feedback, communicate and determine your boundaries, and then as you shift and grow, continue to say like, hey, I think I changed. You still up for it? Right. And I think that part's important. Like, everybody gets choices, right? So keep them informed and let them have informed choices, and I think that you stand on solid ground with people.
All right, y'all. Friday Love Fest. We teach love.
Yeah, we do.